Happy Wednesday evening. Welcome to our webinar on what to do in your garden this month with Shannon Fitzpatrick. My name is Jen with Sloat Garden Center, and we're happy to have you join us. I'm just going to talk a little bit while people are logging on. Hold on. Okay. And this is basically, starting now is we're getting into the gardening season, which is super exciting. I can't believe we're basically almost through January 2022. Anyway, it's happening and here we are. And so we're really excited to see what Shannon has to share. And like anything, it's really good to stay on top of it, stay on top of the garden, know what to do at the various times of the year. We try to bring classes as, sort of time appropriate classes. And this is another one. And so definitely really good information. You all should have received her outline in your reminder email that you should have received about an hour ago. If you didn't get it for some reason, let me know and I can send you the link, or I can drop the link in the chat. I wanted to tell you about upcoming classes. This weekend, we're having how to make seed balls. And I know I've said this like 2 other times before, but I'm super excited about this class. And I just met with the presenter a couple days ago, and I'm even more excited because she's actually going to have her daughter join on the class. So this class is going to be, it's sort of for teachers and counselors and parents to sort of do this fun activity, how to teach it to young kids. But I think it's fun that she's going to have her daughter with too. And I think it would be age appropriate for, somebody probably 8 and older that can, pay attention for a small amount of time. So I think it could be a really fun class and a good activity, winter activity, and also, a good chance to get some seeds in your garden and have fun with it. So anyway, that's this weekend. And then fruit tree pruning is January 29th with Elizabeth Ruiz. That's at 10 a.m. It's one of our most popular classes all year. And so definitely sign up if you haven't been there before. And then we have organic rose care February 2nd at 5 p.m. And just like that, we're through January. So crazy. Anyway, we want to just jump in and get going. And if you do have any questions, feel free to feed them into the Q&A, and I'll be going through them. And then I'll also relay them to Shannon. And just note that this is being recorded and the recording will be available this Friday. All right, so without further ado, I turn it over to you, Shannon. I'm really looking forward to your presentation. Thank you so much.
Hi guys, Shannon Fitzpatrick here from the Pleasant Hill store. So excited to have you guys come join me out here today. I feel like I've been remiss in inviting you guys to my house. I always catch you on Saturday mornings when I'm not here in the place to be. So really excited to have you guys here and be able to show off a little corner, the most well-lit corner in the Pleasant Hill store. So this is gonna be the spot that you guys get to see today as we progress through the season and there's more sun everywhere, then we'll be able to move around and do classes lots of different places. Anyway, so today is what to do in your garden this month. It's January, it's chilly, the ground is still cold. We've already done our fall planting. We're dealing with things that are dormant. We're gearing up, trying to get everything ready and prepared for spring. So this is just a quick little, don't forget this, don't forget this, don't forget this for you guys in your gardens this month. Should be pretty quick. Definitely ask questions if you have any. I'm gonna try to run through things, but Jen will grab me if you guys have any specific questions. Okay, also Casey from the Pleasant Hill store is helping me today as my camera person, so that's who I'm talking
Back
to.
here behind the scenes.
Yes, she's behind the scenes today. So anyway, just to get started, kind of what's going on in your garden this month. Like all the action is undercover. It is under the ground. So all the sap is low, it's cold, all the sap, you know, goes down into the root structure. All the plants like energy and all of its planning is based on getting everything nice and ready and strong in order to be able to show off in the spring. So you're not really going to see a whole lot going on this month. You're going to see a lot of things that look like they're dead. You're going to see a lot of things that are, you know, cut back. There's not going to be any new emergence of things other than maybe things that you don't want there. So you're not going to see a whole lot of action, but know that all the action is going on, you know, underground, which is perfect. Water this time of year. I mean, we had all those early rains and I feel like we all got super excited and turned off our irrigation system and thought, okay, I'm going to save $700 in water this month, but not quite yet. I'm glad that you turned them off when we had the rains, but you may have to turn them back on, even if not for so much, you know, as the long cycle as you normally would during spring and summer, but definitely some, just because there's not enough water in the ground. All the kind of moisture and dew and, you know, heavy mist that we're having is awesome, but it's not enough to act as a watering system. So definitely still have some kind of irrigation going. If you guys are on a timer, again, it can be less often, but it just still needs to be running. And if you're hand watering, you know, check the ground. It's the same thing that we tell people when they come into the store. Check the ground, see how moist it is, check your pots, see if they feel completely dried out. You're still going to need to do some watering even at this time of the year. The other thing that you should be working on right now is cleanup. We all know that when you want to, you know, have some brand new masterpiece, you have to make sure that everything is cleaned up and ready to roll. You've moved all the furniture out, you're ready to paint your room. Well, your garden is the same thing. You got to get it all cleaned up and ready to go so that you can do new planting and stuff in the spring. So you're going to want to do things like, you know, removing plants that aren't thriving. And I know that this is a touchy subject for most people. You know, you want to hang on, you see maybe a little glimpse of life and you're hanging on to that. If it's gone, it's gone. And it's taking up space. It's taking up, you know, water. It's taking up energy that could be used to something that's doing better. So, you know, say your goodbyes and go ahead and pull those plants out. If they're not doing well and it just wasn't meant to be, then now's the time to call it what it is and get that out of the ground. Also, this time of the year, you're going to need to do some pruning. You also want to clean up around the ground before I move on. So getting dead plants out, absolutely, but also kind of around all those plants. You know, getting any leaves or branches and stuff like that have, you know, kind of cluttered up the area. Now is a good time to get rid of those also. And pruning and cutting back and stuff like that. So for pruning, now's the time to hit the big ones. You're going to do your roses, your shrubs, you know, any trees. You want to remove any dead branches and stuff in there. You want to do some shaping, maybe some thinning. Now is the time to do all of that. I know there's some really cool classes coming up with Elizabeth Ruiz and a few others that are going to be specifically talking about different kinds of pruning. So now's the time to get out there and do that. Do all your pruning now. You're also going to want to do some, and there's a difference between pruning and cutting back. Cutting back are things like your salvias, your perennials and stuff like that. They're going to be dormant this winter. Your grasses. Here's a good example of an ornamental grass that we've chopped back. So it gets pretty low. I don't know if you guys can see that, but you know, you're going to get it down pretty low there. You just want to make sure that it is, you need a few inches, but that's about it. Same is true for your salvias and stuff. Same thing. You don't want to get down too low, but you want to admit that now's the time to take off all that extra branches and stuff like that and get them trimmed down to a place where they can fill out nice and full during the spring. So don't be scared. I mean, again, you don't have to cut it all the way down to the ground, but don't be scared to give it a really good haircut. I mean, they tell you if you want to have nice, long, full, voluptuous hair to go get a haircut, which seems counterintuitive, but that is the same advice that we give for plants. So those are like cutbacks on perennials and ornamental grasses. You're going to do some deadheading on things like cyclamen. I wish I had one here. I didn't grab one, forgive me. But for cyclamen and for some other annuals like violas and pansies and stuff, when you've got an afternoon to kill, and go in there and you literally want to pull the dead stalks out. You don't want to just top it and pull the flower off the top, but you want to get that whole stalk that comes out for each of the cyclamen, and then for the violas and pansies and things like that. So again, now's the time to get everything trimmed back, to get it all, you know, nestled down so all the energy is going where it's supposed to go, so that it's ready to, you know, spring out when the time comes, as soon as it gets nice. Back to kind of the leaves and stuff that are going to be falling from trees. Obviously, if it's on your lawn or if it's on planting beds, if it's covering anything that should be getting sun and should be doing, you know, getting all of the elements on it during this time of year, then you're going to want to get those leaves off of there. I think otherwise, if it's in a planting area that, you know, there's not already plants there, I feel like it's kind of dealer's choice. I mean, you can use it as a natural, you know, kind of weed abatement, the same thing as using a bark or something like that. You know, you can allow it to mix with that. If you've already got a mulch and you don't want leaves all over the place, of course, pull those out. But, you know, you can also leave it as kind of a natural ground cover there to help with weed abatement, help to keep that soil moist underneath, help to keep it, you know, nice and fresh, and keep all the goodies cooking underneath there while you're getting ready for spring. So all choices, you know, totally up to you, whichever one makes sense for you and for your garden. Let's see, next in terms of just background and getting things ready to roll are your tools. So I think there's a couple of schools of thought on tools, but we definitely recommend cleaning off tools and stuff, just because if you're trimming back anything that's got any kind of cooties on it, any kind of, you know, fungus or any kind of insects, you definitely want to, you can transfer that from one, you know, plant to another on your tools. So it's really important to, if nothing else, to definitely you know, clean off all of your tools when you get done using them. There's a couple of easy ways. We sell a nice an alcohol here. I think it's okay as long as you can see it. We sell alcohol here, but it's really just a rubbing alcohol that you can use, you know, put it on a paper towel, and you're going to just kind of use it to clean off, you know, all along the blades. You want to get your handles and stuff too. Just give it a nice little wipe down to get it nice and sanitized and get all the, you know, anything nasty that's on there, especially the stuff that you can't see, because there's a lot of, you know, microorganisms and stuff that can end up causing you problems that you can't even really see with your eyes. So using an alcohol to kind of sanitize everything will, you know, will definitely help you do the trick. And then we also offer another product, which I had not used before, but started using recently, and it is Barnell. It's a food grade lubricating oil. And so this one acts as like it is a cleaner, it's a lubricant and a cleaner, and it helps to prevent rust. And so, you know, after you get done sanitizing all of your tools, this is a good one to be able to, you know, you put it on a towel, you kind of put it on there, you rub it in, and then this is what sits on there until the next time you use it again. You know, it's okay. You don't have to wipe it off. You use like a paper towel or a towel to put it on, but it really helps to protect your tools until you use them again. Helps to prevent rust. Obviously, I should have used some on these. But it helps to keep this nice and clean, and again, keep it sanitized in between use from one thing to the next. So this kind of tool also, you know, we've got a big lopper here, same thing, you know, just clean off this top part here, make sure you get the handles and stuff in terms of, you know, sanitizing things, but those work really great and will help keep your tools. I mean, these are not super cheap, so you want them to be able to last. Also, there's a few places out there. I was at a farmer's market not too long ago, and they were doing tool sharpening. I know they used to do it at Ace Hardware. I know the one locally here in Pleasant Hill closed, but there's still a few around, and some of them will still do blade sharpening on your tools. So that's another good thing to do this time of year, although definitely be careful. If you go and get them sharpened, it's completely different. The cutting is like, you know, like paper. And so make sure that you're careful so you don't cut yourself. That's a quick little run through on tools and just care of your tools. And again, to kind of keep it so that you're not transferring any cooties from one plant to another, while you're out there working in your yards. So next is kind of our prep. So getting everything.
Shannon, can I
Yeah.
ask you something before you go on to the next section? Because the pruning part, I think, is really important to understand. And one person asked, can you prune back like the salvias and whatnot and the perennials, but if we're still in the risk of a freeze? Or what do you say to that?
Yes, you can. Most of the perennials in our area, this is the coldest time of the year. And that includes a lot of frosty nights. But this is when it's cold enough that all that energy, all that sap is down in the roots. Like I trimmed this one just a little while ago, and all I did was just to kind of even it off and bring it down as close to, some of the bracts there that you can get to without snipping everything off. But as you see, like it's not all green and supple. Like this is all night right now. It's like a bear, curled up for the winter. So it's okay to go ahead and cut back your salvias, cut back your sages. I had somebody in here the other day asking about lantana, all of those perennials that look like they've gotten kind of frostbite, that look like, the leaves are gone and the flowers are gone. It's okay to go ahead and cut them back. It's not too cold right now. This is the time of year that's best for them. Just, again, to give them their best possible chance for the spring. And
Yeah,
again,
totally.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I usually say before Valentine's Day, just as a ballpark or like a bench date. Yeah, shoot for before Valentine's Day, except for all the stuff that's like blooming, right? That's spring blooming, which would be like the rhododendrons, camellias, azaleas, that kind of stuff.
Right. All that stuff it comes later. But no, now's the perfect time for these. Again, in the Bay Area, it was a cold December. So I feel like this year kind of makes it difficult to say, what the normal benchmark is. But normally, if there is a norm for weather in the Bay anymore, January, February, about the coldest time. It's when we have excuse me, the most extended, frosty nights and really cold temps. So now's the best time to go ahead and bite the bullet and cut back whatever needs to be cut back. And again, give it just its best chance for spring growth. If you wait too long, then it's already starting to send that energy back up, and you don't want to snip it off while it's, trying to send up, energy for new branches or sending up energy for new leaves and blooms and stuff like that. So catch it while it's asleep, and now's the perfect time.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you. Of
course. Okay, so next, like I said, prep for your areas. Now is also a good time to spray down anything that that you notice has had problems or that you just want to protect. I've had a lot of people come in saying, last year I had peach leaf curl on some of my fruit trees, and I don't want to do that again. Like, what can I do now? And you definitely can. So you can do, especially for peach leaf curl and for other fungal diseases. And again, you're just doing dormant spraying to help protect for the next year. Like the copper fungicide is one of the best ones. And it comes in, a couple different forms. This one is a nice little ready to use. And this is nice for when all the leaves are gone and you're just really like getting the branches, getting everything fully protected. This one works really well. Also liquid cop, which is the same thing. It's okay. I think that's cool. And this one is in a concentrate. So, if you're using a sprayer, you can use a concentrate here and maybe not use as much. And also works a little bit better for larger trees. We have a few. This one is a Bonite all seasons horticultural spray. And dormant covering. It's got that horticultural oil in it. And this one is really snazzy because you can hook it up to your hose and then it shoots out here, and then you can just kind of stand back and get, larger trees and larger areas. And this one kind of does the same thing, just gives that protection to help, ward off any diseases that might come on. Also, this one works for insects as well. Things like scales, spider mites, any eggs, anything like that might be, considering getting going for the spring. It kind of knocks them out now. A takedown spray is the same thing, has the same qualities, is specific to insects though. And I read recently in even in our January kind of what to do is that you can mix these. So like if you're using one of the big pump sprayers, that you can mix the fungicide and the insecticide kind of into the same sprayer and get everything at once. So that's kind of handy, so that you don't have to go out there twice and hit it with this and then hit it with that. So that's really cool. And we do have some of those bigger pump bottles that you can, you know, just kind of stand back and spray overhead. So now's the best time to get out there to protect things before it happens. It's so hard, as most of you know, once something is already infected or once it's already got some kind of fungus or another, it's so hard to, you know, run in and try to deal with it then and try to, you know, every 7 days do this and do that and wipe it and spray it. And, you know, it's like, it's overwhelming. And now since it's not raining a lot, it's the perfect time to use these sprays that'll, you know, kind of, again, help you get that protection that you need before it even starts. So that is for plants. For the ground, Sluggo, it is the perfect time to put down Sluggo. I had so many people come in this year and be like, there's like holes in the middle of the leaves. It's not on the outer edge. It's not a slug. It's not a caterpillar. Something is putting, you know, holes in the middle of the leaves. 9 times out of 10 over this last summer, it was earwigs or pitcher bugs. And there's very few remedies, I feel like, that really help with that. Sluggo does amazing for snails and for slugs and for creepy crawlies, but this Sluggo Plus is business for earwigs. And then it gets all 3. So you don't have to worry about, am I going to be able to protect from snails and slugs also? And this one is a granular, you shake it down into the ground and it kills them down in the ground before they even come up. So this is a really important one to put on this time of year, just again, to give you that kind of pre-protection against, you know, anything that might be looking forward to your beautiful leaves and fruit and stuff this season. So that's that. Let's see what else. In terms of coverage and keeping things before they even happen with weeds, I mean, weeds are inevitable. There's a lot of things that you can use to, you know, to fight back against weeds. If it's just kind of killing them in an area, like, you know, they're coming up in your driveway or they're coming up someplace really easily to get to, by all means, you know, by hand first, if you could get it. If it's simple, the best way to pull them is to get them by hand and pull out the whole root structure. You don't want to just wind the top off. Obviously, you need to get those roots underneath. So anytime that you can pluck them, you know, straight out and not leave any root, definitely do that. There's also a couple of sprays that work well for weed killing. This one is in lawn, so it's safe to use in the lawn and won't kill your grass. And then this one is just going to kill everything. So those are the choices. I mean, you have to kind of be careful and you have to know where you're spraying.
Can we get an up close of those so we're sure we know the difference? Yeah.
Yeah. So this one is the kill everything.
Okay.
Is very specifically that it is weed killer for lawns. So and as you're using it, it won't kill your grass. How it knows that, I cannot be the one to explain, but thank goodness somebody smarter than me is making it happen. The other really cool thing that we've been really pushing here in our store today over this season has really been the weed preventer. And it's this corn gluten. It's called Maize Weed Preventer, and it comes in a couple of different forms. There's a granular, there's one by Pruning, this one is by Bonite, and this one is, you spray it over whatever your area is, whether it's your lawn, whether it's your planting area, and the medicine that's in here goes in and stops the weeds before they even germinate. So before they can even become an actual weed, it kills it then. So it acts as a preventative. So this is a really big one. You need to be a little bit careful when you're spraying it because of the range. You don't want it to wash away, but this one is awesome and is, again, really good to kind of nip things in the bud before they even really get started. So if you haven't heard about this one, look it up or come down to Sloat, and we're happy to kind of walk you through the possibilities for this one. In terms of protection for, the plants that you've got out there right now, it has been cold, as I've mentioned numerous times. Definitely be using your frost blankets, and for anything that needs them, citrus and a lot of your softer, more tender plants are going to need to be covered this time of year. Especially on extended frost nights. One night here or there is not necessarily the end of the world, but when you have continuous, freezing temperatures, definitely, get a frost blanket. You can cut this into size for whatever you want, or you can use it to kind of like wrap around citrus trees if you've got some. For ones that are larger that you want to also protect, cloud cover works the same way, as does wilt stop. The cloud cover obviously is a concentrate, so this one will work again in your pumper to be able to spray larger items. It also helps when you know that freezing temps are coming, just to water the ground a little bit ahead of time. That always helps to just kind of protect, any plants that you've got there. So those two are really good for protection also. And again, those are for plants that are in the ground, and even for areas that are your planting beds, where maybe you got bulbs or something like that. So those work really well. Let me see what else I'm missing. You also want to make sure that you're doing top dressing this time of year, because again, you want to keep all those natural goodies and down into the soil. Any beneficial bacteria, any fertilizing that you've been doing, you want to keep that down in the ground. Now's a good time to be using your Forest Mulch Plus. If you wanted to have kind of a bark plus some soil and amendments as your top dressing, works really well around like roses and other planted beds. You can also just do kind of a regular fir bark of any kind. Super easy to do, just a mulch. We've got bags of mulch and decorative colors and in numerous different sizes. Again, not only does it protect the ground and also to help keep that moisture down in there, but it helps plants so that their roots are even better protected. Not only are they underground, but then they've got that nice extra layer of protection. It allows water and stuff to still get down in there, but it also helps to prevent weeds. It blocks that sun from getting through, so that's definitely a good one to use to help prevent weeds also. So you see how everything kind of works together, and that's awesome. Just like nature, I guess, at the end of the day. Let me see if there's anything left that I need to make sure you guys know when it's time to do your planting, because now you've done all of your cleanup, you've done all of your deadheading, you've pruned back everything that needed to be, you got your area all prepared and ready for planting. There are a few things that are that this is kind of their time of year to put them in the ground, that we tend to get them in stock here in the stores, and that it's a good time to get them before they actually start flowering. Dormant roses, some people call them bare root. We call them dormant because obviously they're not bare, they're sitting in a bucket of soil. So at Sloat stores, they are dormant roses. Now's the perfect time to come down and pick out your favorite flavor, your favorite color, your favorite style. And now's a good time to get those in the ground. The other thing that you'll see this time of year are like the flowering cherries and flowering plums, and God, they're going to be gorgeous, really soon. So now's a really good time for those. Also like your lilacs and magnolias, another really good one to get in the ground right now. A lot of people are starting to see fruit trees come in, kind of the beginning of our dormant fruit trees. And again, they'll look a lot like the roses, where they're going to be no leaves, no nothing, completely bare, but in a nice little bucket of dirt and ready to roll. So hopefully those will be coming into the Sloat stores soon. We start getting our fruit trees, anytime over the next couple of weeks, and it'll just keep building and building and building. But now is the best time to get those in the ground so that they can be ready to roll when it's time for them to show off. It's their time of year coming up pretty soon. What's another one? Oh, the flowering quince. We just got a new shipment of those in, and oh my gosh, they're gorgeous. So now's a good time to get those in and get those planted in the ground. And then what's coming up next for us really are bulbs, our summer bulbs. So, getting your planting areas ready so that as summer bulbs come in, and they'll be coming in the next couple of weeks, you'll be ready to get those in the ground. So things like gladiolas and dahlias and lilies and stuff like that. Soon enough, there'll be boxes and boxes of bulbs in all of the Sloat stores. And it'll be time to get those in so that they will be ready to, start coming up in the spring. When it's nice and warm, you're going to get those, a few more weeks as things kind of get through February. By March, it'll be time to get those in the ground so that they can come up during the summer and give you all those lovely flowers. I wish that we had more, I always wanted to do a cut flowers class, like how to plant a garden that's just cut flowers. And I think so often about so many of the bulbs that you see, and bouquets of a million different kinds. And so now's the time to kind of get bulbs so you can do your own cut flowers, and maybe skip a stop over to the florist and make your own. So that's about it for what you should be doing right now at this time of the year. Again, right smack dab in the middle of winter, another month or so of this cold weather, and then hopefully, although it's really deceiving, it's been nice and beautiful over the last almost week or so. The stores have been like teeming with people coming in going, I'm excited about spring, and we're like, whoa, not quite spring yet, but getting close. And so we're excited also. We'll be happy to have everybody coming on down, and definitely look for these products to be able to get your gardens ready to roll.
That's great. Thanks so much, Shannon. You covered a ton. I really appreciate it. I have to echo what you said kind of in the beginning about taking a look at your garden and figuring out stuff you want to get rid of. Honestly, I really look forward to that in my garden because then I can see, like, as a gardener and as a designer, it gives you, you can see the space, you can see what needs to be filled just by clearing out. Like if you've had something that's been struggling in the garden for a while, just just get it out and try in something new.
Definitely.
And I think it's so exciting.
Closet,
Yeah.
right? To buy new clothes, so you've got to go through and make space for clothes in the closet. So don't be afraid to say, you know what, this didn't fit. Like I put this here and I thought it was going to be this size, but oh my God, it got big. And maybe it's just that it's time to move it, and then it's not necessarily time to get rid of it. But now's the time to make all those decisions, to look at where everything is, decide where you want all your new stuff to be, decide where your height is, and if this thing was in front of this thing and that didn't make sense, or this thing really needed more sun, I should move it out further, or this thing really might make more sense to have it by the other acid plant, so I'm going to move it over there. So now's the best time to get all your planning done so that when the time comes, you're set.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard a quote once that was like, I like to change the perspective of my plants every once in a while. And just kind of that idea, like, oh, maybe that plant wants to try a different place this year. So anyway, it's a little garden geeky, but we love it. And there's a ton of questions, so I want to be sure we address it, as many as possible. This is a good one. Should the copper fungicide be sprayed before the pruning or after?
Oh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that you should do it after, because you don't really care too much about the branches and whatever part of the plant and the trees that you're going to be getting rid of. So go ahead and do your pruning, and then once you have everything set, that you have it pruned down to the size that you want, that you've really worked on your shaping of everything, you've done all your thinning out, and then go ahead and do all of your spraying, the copper fungicide, any insecticides you want to use, but prune first, spray after.
Yeah. And also just a reminder, we've taken deeper dives into a lot of this stuff. Shannon is going over just sort of, these are the topics that we need to be thinking about this time of the year. We've had classes on pruning, we've had classes on fertilizing, and fungicides and whatnot, and they're all on our website and our YouTube channel. So if you want, there's a lot of questions that I'm just looking at them now where I'm like, we've definitely covered that before in a like a more in a devoted class basically.
Right.
And so definitely the recordings are great because you can fast forward and rewind and pause and whatnot, and there's a ton of information available. So if you go on our website, it's under the Learn tab and then garden videos, and you'll find a bunch of information there. Okay. This is a good question, and I honestly am not entirely sure myself, and I don't know if you are, but do the sprays like the the copper fungicide, are birds affected? Does that affect birds?
There are numerous of these that say that they are safe for animals.
Okay.
I realize that animals is a very, kind of wide gamut. But what I do know of the copper fungicides and the insecticides is that they tend to dry pretty quickly. And so, once they're dry, and again, with any kind of moisture and stuff in the air, they're going to kind of drip down anyway. So they're going to give as much protection as possible. And then, whatever the runoff is going to be the runoff. And I feel like once it dries, that it's definitely safer for, any of our flying friends. And again, they all say that they are environmentally friendly and that they are safe for animals. It doesn't specifically say birds, but then it doesn't specifically say anything. So we can definitely do some more digging into that one and maybe put some info up on the website. Just because I don't want to say for positive, and wrong.
We have to schedule a cut flower garden class now, so thank you for putting that. Yeah. There's a few people who are like, yeah, we want that class. So yeah, we'll schedule that. Don't worry, we'll schedule it. And then also, this is a good question because I know in my own garden, this is happening. I've got roses that are in full bloom right now. And so if stuff is blooming or if stuff is starting to grow, because like you said, I mean, these seasons are a little bit crazy, and right now it seems like the last few years we get this warm burst in January and then it goes back to like freezing again, and so stuff does start pushing out new leaves and things like that. Do we want to be pruning that, or what do we want to be doing with that growth?
Is that what we usually recommend is that if there's, and you're right, because the seasons have been so weird, there's been no regularity. And I mean, even last year for 2021, like it was 90 in March. It was so wild, and it did not cool down, I feel like, until we hit like November, December, and then all of a sudden it was freezing. So I feel like we keep ending up in these cycles where we're skipping so many things, and so many people have come in and said, this is blooming now, or this is dormant now, and it should be this, and you're absolutely right. I think that as confused as we are about, climate change, clearly our plants are at least as confused as we are. And so I think that this is the best time of year to do those, to do your pruning, and that includes roses. And if you've got like, some random burst of blooms and you want to wait for those to go away and you don't see a whole lot of, new budding coming up, then okay. But at some point in time before the season starts, you really have got to, break down and go ahead and cut those back. And if you do have to cut it back and there's blooms on there, then yet again, yet another thing for your cut flower base. But don't let this time period pass where you don't prune at all. And again, it might not be the perfect time where it's completely bare, because it's just way too confusing right now, but don't not prune. I think that was too many names. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think in my scenario, what I'm going to do, because I have this one iceberg rose that's going and so I think I'm going to do like, I'll still keep that Valentine's Day date in my mind, but I'll just see if I get some blooms before that. So, I mean, it's a little bit like you have a little bit of a window for pruning. I think the roses, yeah. And I would say, wouldn't you say like the like the sages and stuff and other perennials that are pushing growth, cut those back. Because we want them to rest too. That's the thing. You want to sort of force them to.
Yeah, just like how you have to pull out plants that you really would love to just give it one more season and see if there's any way at some point in time, like there has to be a line drawn in the sand, and that's also. So even if they're pushing out bloom because the weather's so crazy, you're still going to need to prune them back. And anytime, like Jen said, Valentine's Day is a really easy cutoff for us all to remember. You know, you can break your heart and cut back all your plants, and then you can go, you know, have lots of love and fabulousness for Valentine's Day. So let that be kind of your last ditch effort for getting it done.
Well, Shannon, thank you so much. This has been such a great class. You covered so many important topics, and I've got, there's a lot of people that are really thanking you for your information. So I really appreciate your time and expertise. Like I said, this is being recorded, and the recording will be available this Friday. So if you want to kind of go back over anything that she said, you know, that's a really great way to do it. And like you can rewind and fast forward and all of that. So that'll be on our website. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll get a notification when the video is posted. I'm really excited to just continue with this webinar and this gardening year with y'all. I think we're right at the start of it, and there's a ton of fun stuff coming up. So I hope you look at our future classes, sign up for them. And Shannon, thanks again. Thanks so much. Thanks everyone for joining us. Have a wonderful Wednesday evening.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.